So I decided tonight to take some time to talk about evolution. It's a good subject, seems to always be in the press and controversial. Not sure if it'll be educational, controversial, or if I'm just kind of full of shit, but I'm going to give you some thoughts on things I've looked at with evolution. We all are taught, I can't see everybody out there, but you could raise hands, who learned about education. We all hear about biological evolution. But really, evolution is something that's bigger than that. I mean, it's actually any process of formation or growth and development, and it goes much, much larger than just biological. We all hear about that part. With the common beliefs out there, again, how many people actually have taught it or learned it? Who's actually a believer in it? There's a lot of people who aren't believers, but overall, you hear about it, it's known, but do you really know what evolution is? I mean, we see these common diagrams, monkeys to men, right? And we see the more complex diagrams. They're going across through all these phases of life and, again, ends up with some sort of a human life form at the other side. But those diagrams, again, only look at biology and think about biological evolution. You get better diagrams like this. I like this because it talks a little bit about planetary evolution. You can kind of see all the other things going on, and we're just kind of a small part of it. But even with diagrams like that, there's really another set of scientific theory around evolution, and there's an uncommon understanding that evolution is something that's much bigger than biology. It's a universal thing that goes and started before biology ever existed, and it goes beyond biology. And if you don't understand that and you don't believe it, in the end, you really are just sort of a pseudo-scientific creationist. Because we aren't the epitome. We're not the objective of evolution. Humans are not the end of evolution. We weren't at the beginning of it. Biology wasn't at the beginning of it. Really, evolution is something that is occurring on a much bigger scale. There was no beginning and there will not be an end of evolution. Evolution started the instant of the Big Bang, and as the universe started to expand and everything started to develop, and it's going on, and it's been going on, and it's even happened beyond where we are in biology today. If you really look at it, we're just a real small blip and a fairly insignificant blip in a pretty huge system of chaos that's going on out there in the universe. And we like to kind of fixate and think about ourselves as being, involved in this evolutionary process, but it's happening at a scale that's much larger. So do you actually believe, or do you think about the fact of evolution being this biological thing? Or do you take it another step? Do you actually realize that biology is just this one component? And if so, well then, what are the other components? Like, where is it? What does it look like? Do you believe, or have you ever considered about the universe itself as being something that's evolving, and that biology is just this one little segment? It's just one little tiny piece within that massive evolutionary process. And those are the kind of things that are kind of fun to think about. If you look, of course it has. It's gone through galactic and stellar, the planetary and geologic evolution, which then created genetic, biologic, and organic evolution, going on into neurologic, and then into the mimetic and technologic. And that's really what we're witnessing today. But most of us don't pay attention to it. We don't even see it. Instead, we sit here thinking about it as something that's going to be in our image. Whenever you hear about artificial intelligence, people want to talk about it being a brain, or we want to show it as a robot that's kind of acting like us. But it's kind of silly. That's like a single-celled, being or entity thinking that evolution is going to be this giant single-celled thing. So where did evolution go? Where did it evolve to? And where has it gone beyond us and where we are with thinking on biology? Well, consider that evolution has evolved and moved in the life forms of communities. Communities on Earth are actual living, breathing organisms made up of all sorts of cells that are people. And those organisms have been having wars and fighting with each other, and all of them are operating as entities that are alive on Earth. Memetics is the substrate, the exchange of memes. You hear the term all the time, but do you really think about what it is? It's the exchange of information that's used to solidify and cause communities to be living entities, meme complexes that keep them in place. And the way all of those entities then work is around communications and communicating those memes. And so efficiency of communications becomes critical, and that's why we see things like the internet and everything else evolving. So what become ultimate forms of communications? Well, social networks are one. Social networks aren't something Zuckerberg came up with. Social networks are created by communities. Why? Because they now allow virtual communities to be created on Earth that can be effective. Look at the countries that are being overthrown today by virtual communities that came out of those communities, or came out of the social networks. So the internet's growing, it's growing very rapidly. All sorts of machines are now joining into those communities. And in the end, all of this evolution moves on at a level that's far beyond us. The internet will have 20 to 50 billion machines or devices by 2020, far outnumbering humans. So in the end, evolution is something that's already moved beyond us. Thanks.